On Thursday afternoon, President Uhuru Kenyatta has a date with the country's lawmakers. In his third State of the Nation address to the two chambers of parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, the president will have an opportunity to outline his government agenda with an eye on next year's general election, even as he looks back at his administration's successes and challenges in the last 12 months.
It's like a midterm scorecard for him. What is remaining? How far has he done on the war against corruption? How far has he done against the war on terror?
When he addressed the joint session of Parliament on the 26th of March last year, the president dwelt at length on the war against corruption and gave the fight fresh impetus with this unprecedented directive that won him plaudits from across the political divide.
Whether you are a cabinet secretary, principal secretary, or chief executive of a state institution, to immediately step aside pending conclusion
But 12 months later, the war against mega corruption is far from won. Major scandals have erupted at the National Youth Service and the Youth Enterprise Fund, with more than 1 billion shillings said to have been siphoned from the public funds. The fight against corruption is most likely to feature once again in his speech on Thursday.
He has done that. 6 of his ministers went. A couple of permanent secretaries went. Very close people to him and the deputy president are out of office.
And for the executive, it's very simple, that you are corrupt, there's no space for you in my government. That we have not seen, and I think other institutions have read the wrong message from that. They have understood that corruption can be tolerated, particularly when you look at things like what has been happening in the National Youth Fund.
Out of the 175 government officials whose names were on the list of shame made public by the president last year, only a handful have been investigated by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and arraigned in court on charges of economic crimes. These include former cabinet secretaries Michael Kamau and Charity Ngilu, their colleagues Davis Chirchir, Felix Kosgei and Kambi Kazungu, as well as principal secretaries implicated in graft, were sent packing. Critics, however, said this was not enough.
Kenyans know that the biggest problem that we have is the so-called big fish. And if you're able to deal with the big fish, it will be possible to deal with the small fish.
And as the president prepares his State of the Nation address, he knows only too well that opinion pollsters, social commentators and the general public rank corruption as his administration's main challenge, with 498 days to the general election.
I share in the frustration of Kenyans at the slow pace and lack of results from the mechanisms created to help us tackle this monster.
But it is not all gloom. The state of the country's security has vastly improved, with at least 10,000 new inclusions in the police force, purchase of security hardware, and life insurance for the law enforcers. There are, however, issues of improved remuneration and better housing for the security personnel. These are some of the issues the president will be expected to focus on when he addresses the nation from Parliament on Thursday.
But more fundamentally, I would want to hear about the benefits, other benefits that accrue to this. That when the cost of energy reduces, we would expect that we are going to see the cost of living also going down.
The president is obligated by the Constitution to also give a report on the government's foreign policy, as well as address issues of national values when he makes a State of the Nation address on Thursday. Francis Gachuri, Sunday Live.